Hello and welcome to the 12-lead ECG I've Got the Rhythm archive case review. This is a short video looking back at some of the ECGs posted to our Facebook group so we can use them again to help us with our learning. In this episode we will be looking at 3 cases of posterior MI. If you want to learn more about posterior MI and what to look for on the ECG, then here are some helpful resources that you may want to review before looking at these case studies. I've also added these links in the description below to make it easier for you to find them. So on to our first ECG from the archives, and this one is from June 2015 and was posted by our very own JP Hughes. He recorded this ECG from a female in her early 60s who was complaining of chest pain which radiated to her neck and left arm. Her other symptoms included shortness of breath and nausea, so the history is suggestive of ACS. And when we look at the ECG, although this doesn't meet the criteria for ST elevation and cath lab activation, we do have some obvious ST depression in leads V1 through to V4. So let's focus on those leads here. The ST depression we see in these leads is horizontal, which is typical of ischemia, and we also see R waves with positive T waves. So what did JP do next? Well, he went and recorded another 12-lead ECG, but this time with posterior leads of V7 to V9. And if I zoom in on that view here, we can see there is some slight elevation which now allows us to activate the cath lab with a posterior MI. Here's the ECG taken after the patient had received GTN and aspirin, and we can already see some improvement in the amount of ST depression in V1 to V4 compared to the first ECG we saw. The outcome for this patient was successful stenting of both the LAD and circumflex arteries. So on to our next case then. This one is also from 2015 but was posted in July by John Mcallister. The patient, in his mid-50s, presented with chest pains and was clammy. Again we see that pattern of ST depression in leads V1 through to V4 with tall R waves and positive Ts. What we also have in this ECG are changes to the inferior leads. So if you look at lead 3, those T waves are huge compared to the QRS complex. Likewise, in AVF, we have large T waves, and there is subtle elevation in those leads and also in lead 2. So this is more likely an inferior posterior STEMI, but let's take a look at leads V7 to V9. And I think it's pretty obvious there is ST elevation there, so we can activate the cath lab for a posterior MI. To our third and final case from the archives then, and this one was for a female in her 60s complaining of crushing central chest pain which radiated into her jaw and was posted back in December 2016 by Andy Ty. We can see that this has a posterior leads of V7 to V9 on it, and there is ST elevation in them, thus confirming the diagnosis. But if you look at leads V1 to V3, then you can again see the pattern of ST depression with R waves and upright Ts. This lady was conveyed direct to PCI, where posterior MI was confirmed, and she was successfully stented to the circumflex artery. Well, that concludes this little walkthrough of archive case reviews, looking at how to recognise a posterior MI. Remember, you too can search through the group's previous posts and find some interesting cases to learn from. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.